Welcome to Beyond My Crisis. I'm your co-host, Ron Rosnick.
And I'm Vivian Gaspar.
And we're here to help people through their personal crisis with experts on the show that will guide you and help you in any situation that could be critical, whether it's domestic violence, losing a job, personal events and tragedies. We'll be with you.
And help you have a more prosperous, comfortable, and successful future for the rest of your life. We're here today to welcome Mary McNutt. She's a CPA with an MBA, and she has a newly released book. She's also a motivational speaker and an expert at helping people find their passion and purpose and easily turning that purpose into a profitable business. Welcome, Mary, to our show, Beyond My Crisis.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Well, we're very excited that you're helping people transform their lives because so many people are just stuck not knowing what to do in their careers. And when that happens, they make a lot less money and inevitably have more crises with taking care of themselves and their families. So tell us, so many people have heard about The Crisis. It was a well-renowned book and program, but you're telling us how to go beyond the crisis to realizing prosperity. Tell us about that, please.
So oftentimes people are in a job, or maybe they've just lost their job, and I have easy ways for people to lean into starting their own self-employment or working in an industry that they're really excited about. I look for ways to uncover your passion and what you would like to do for free, and then I help you find a way to get paid to do it. Because when you love what you do, everything in your life works better. It helps your relationships, it helps your day-to-day working. It's better.
Just it makes your whole life just flow better. And what they say about the laws of attraction, then you just attract the other pieces of your life to fall into place, right?
Right, because when you love what you do, everything seems to work out better. I feel like as I got beyond my crisis and reinvented myself, my health got better, my marriage got better, my parenting got better, my money got stronger.
Right. So these are obvious gains. Some people, though, feel like, I'd like that too, but I've got to work at my job, I've got to make a living, I've got all these pressures, I can't get out of my own way. So what's the very first step someone needs to consider when they're going to make the decision for a transformation in their life?
Let's say we've uncovered that your favorite thing to do is take beautiful photography. I have a client who was a banking manager and they were robbed while she was at the bank, and instantly she could think, I just want to be home with my children. And ultimately she was already my CPA client. What I did was help her uncover the talent she had with taking photographs of her children in such unique and candid ways. So ultimately, she kept her job for a while at the bank because that was paying the mortgage. It was really a requirement to keep that money flowing, but she knew she wanted to get out of that. And so I asked her to start taking photographs of her friends' children on weekends and the evenings, just one client at a time. And then slowly but surely, actually within 18 months, she became so well known with her ability to take these candid, beautiful photos of children that she was able to replace her income and quit her job at the bank.
Wow. She must just be so much happier with her life.
It's
That
fantastic.
sounds like a dream.
But was this a talent that she knew she had, or you helped uncover?
She thought it was just her little family talent. She didn't realize it was something that she could ever make a living out of. She
Like
never,
Ann Geddes makes a living out of that.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
She just
She
takes
never-
some fantastic pictures. That's
and when
great.
I originally suggested it, she said, oh, there's already so many photography studios. And I said, well, I saw some gorgeous photos of your children on Facebook where they were so unique. I've never seen photos like that. And it doesn't matter how many other people are doing the same thing as you in the industry. If you stand out with a unique product, you're going to be successful.
And if you create your passion, if you're doing what you love, you'll be better at it. So you have to be the best in your industry if you want success in your life. Like
Unique, somehow to be the best in your uniqueness. Yes.
Now, I heard you tell us beforehand a fantastic story about your own husband. So I love when you started at home, and now, besides making him happier, hasn't that also transformed your whole family situation?
Absolutely. So I helped him reinvent himself from being an auto mechanic to starting his own business as a general contractor, because he was doing some work on our new yard, and he created the most amazing art piece out of our yard. And I said, "You've missed your calling. This is it." And 14 years later, he's had this wonderful, successful business.
So really, for this to happen, you need someone in your life that has a vision higher than what you as an individual may see. And you're that person that can see the shining star in everybody.
I do. I feel like that is a talent of mine, is to see possibility in others, whether they're able to see it yet or not, and bring ease and fun to everything that they do.
So how do you encourage someone to get into that mind space where that could be their life also?
Just start talking about getting your first client and letting them understand, to start a business, you don't need to have some big fancy board of directors or a corporation entity. If you have a social security number, you can start your own sole proprietorship. So maybe you started out trying to do this business and you only got one client and then said, "That's not for me." You haven't lost anything, in my opinion.
Right.
But if you get a second client and a third client, and indeed if you're the best in what it is you do, they're going to refer you to other people, and you won't even need to advertise. None of my clients advertise.
None of your clients advertise? I think that's phenomenal. Can you give someone, maybe someone in our audience might think this is something that would really help change their lives? What would be a couple of easy steps they should take to make this happen for them?
I first say, start writing a list of talents. What is in your talent bank already? What are you already good at? Like the photographer, she was able to see that she does have camera. Her father was a photographer, so she always thought that's a great hobby, but she was able to uncover all of the different talents she already has. She was already a bank manager, so she knew that from a business perspective, she could handle the financial part of her business.
So the first thing is writing a list of and creating a talent bank.
Yes.
Okay. What would be the next thing to do?
And then think about what it is you would do off of that list of your talent bank. What would you do for free? And so in photography, she would take photos of her friends for free, of her friends' children for free, and I just let her understand what a value that is and where the financial well-being is from that.
But then people who want to start their own business would have to be salespeople, and maybe some employees don't have that essence in them. How do they get their first sale?
When you are doing what you love, there isn't really even a sale in it. It's just natural.
I think that's so important to remind people that everyone says, "I hate selling." But if you're just talking to people, you're not really selling. But to not undervalue what you're worth is also important.
Very
Is that
important.
something that you would help people, that you perhaps might guide them with?
Yes.
So some people may not be
Absolutely.
comfortable asking for what they'd like to get because their self-esteem, they're feeling that they're not really professional yet.
Oh,
How do
yes.
you do that transition where you have the confidence to demand what you should receive?
There's such easy ways to research. What are other people charging for this service? How are people getting out there and getting more clients? There's such a wealth of information out there to research from.
But they probably need a guide that can kind of enumerate all this, and you help people figure all this out.
Yeah, I help bring the ease into it and the fun in it. My story is, I put the dance in abundance.
And you know, talking about your story, you've got a big story. You have your book.
Yes.
Right?
You want to
Yes, my new book.
The Easy Guide to Reinventing You. And I really love that you're here, because I think so many people, their lower self-esteem because they're so unhappy with what they do and or what they're earning, it really affects their whole families. I mean, think about not just single parents, But even if you're in a team, I mean, there's so many obstacles in the way that they can't now take care of their families, which leads to other crises. And it could also cost the family harmony or much, much worse. So I really think this is a valuable service you're providing. Thank you so much.
Right.
I really say that when you're doing what you love, the health, wealth, and happiness follow with ease. I've seen it again and again. I've helped thousands of people reinvent themselves. Some people are bored with their job, but they're committed to the secure income, but they don't know how to even start getting out of there. Some people are raising their children and they know eventually they want to start bringing in income. So I just help people slowly lean into this idea of reinventing themselves into something they love and bringing in income.
Right. So that seed planted in their head has to keep growing, has to be nourished. It can't wither away. You got to keep that action in your mind in focus.
Right. In my book, the subtitle is The Fun Pathway to Your Dream Career in 11 Simple Steps. And I really emphasize throughout the book simplicity, ease, and fun. If you're having fun, it feels amazing that you get paid for it, right?
I think people really need to hold on to that. Mary, thank you so much for coming on. And I, for one, think that you're doing a great service.
And I had fun.
And I thought it was
did
easy.
too.
We had fun with ease.
Yay!
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Excellent.
Welcome to Beyond My Crisis. I'm your co-host, Ron Rosnick.
And I'm Vivian Gaspar. We are here today to help you overcome and, of course, conquer the fears that hold you back in life, and especially remind you that it's not just you who's affected when you have fear. It's those who love you and rely upon you. Today we have with us Kalliope Barlis. She's a best-selling author of 3 books, and she's an expert in personal development and peak performance strategies. She helped thousands of people become better spouses, parents, and succeed in business. Went from pro golfer to doctor of acupuncture to phobia relief expert. Thank you, Kalliope, for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me, Vivian and Ron.
Well, I
So
think
I
we
think
should-
for the fear that we had talked about before was about business, how to succeed in business. There's a lot of people that may have jobs that they're not satisfied with and they want to launch. How do we get started? How do people overcome that hurdle?
First, by thinking about what it is exactly that you want, because a lot of people stay too often what they don't want instead of what they do want. I don't want to be poor. Well, what if instead you start saying, I want to have a better lifestyle for myself, my family, my kids? Because when we set direction for the brain, it starts knowing intuitively what to do. Because you can't get rich sitting in front of the TV watching the Shark Tank.
So use language that promotes a positive thought process, not a negative thought process.
That's right.
Right.
Because you need to set a destination for your brain to start doing things to
Right.
get it done.
So have a plan. So basically think about what you want to achieve and then take an action. You talked about Shark Tank. So sitting in front of a TV watching Shark Tank doesn't create business success for those TV watchers.
That's right. Because they can think all they want about what it is that they want, but they also need to implement what it is that they're going to do to make it happen.
How do you help people do that?
First, by starting about how it is that you're going to look like, sound like, and feel like, especially when you have what it is that you want. Because it's not just about visualization. We're like these super sensory human beings that see, hear, and feel, especially. And when you can actually taste what it's like to have the wealth that you want in your life, not just with money, but the intimacy, maintaining the intimacy with your family, your wife, your kids, and your friends. And really it's just balancing everything.
So I have a question. So often we hear about the coined phrase fear of success. Is that real? To me it just sounds crazy. Why would you be afraid of succeeding?
There's a woman named Virginia Satir who was a family therapist many years ago, and she coined the fact that the greatest instinct in people is not survival. The greatest instinct is keeping things familiar. So that when people are in a rut or things are not going their way and they just feel like, oh my God, nothing ever happens right for me. Well, the truth is that if they start thinking about oh my goodness, if I do actually have what it is that I want, I'm going to look, feel, and sound amazing, not only to myself, but to others. And so that way, just by thinking about it, it builds in a familiarity.
So believe in your success is the key.
Well, believing, you need a strategy for one. You need a knowing how to do this. How am I going to do this? And I don't think that there is one recipe for any success, anybody's success. It's having a strategy and believing that you can. And once you know that you can, well, what is it that you're going to have once you do it?
But as a phobia relief expert, let's go back to this situation that you have the fear of success, but then you have the fear of failure. How do you see those two either correlating or being different, and which is more prevalent in people?
It depends on the individual, which one's prevalent. I think overall, it's a fear of actually feeling that good. Because for so many people, they're not used to having these incredible feelings of feeling good.
So give me an example. If we're going to help people feel good, what could someone do today to start practicing to feel better?
So each and every morning before you get out of bed, imagine thinking about what it is in the past that's made you feel good, so that in the moment you're feeling good. So what if you come up with 3 basic things to feel good about before you even get out of bed? It sets a beautiful brain chemistry inside your mind so that you can go throughout the day feeling even better. And when you feel good, it changes how you do things.
I think that's a great strategy. I have actually never heard that before.
But I have heard that the mind can't tell the difference whether something is true or false. Whatever you tell it, it starts believing. So if you tell it something that may not be convincingly true for you, but it's positive and makes you feel better, then that'll work.
Well, it's been scientifically proven. They say that the brain doesn't know the difference between what it's done, what it thinks, or what it sees. So that if you see someone performing a certain way, doing something, your brain mirrors the activity. And the same goes if you have a thought about being successful, like clearly seeing it in bright, vivid color and huge, so that you can actually see yourself being that successful. Your brain will actually make it happen more so than not having done that.
Also, I just realized, of course, as a human being, we're conditioned to wanting to be with friends, be with the people that they love. Is there ever this fear of success correlated with maybe that if I'm successful, the people who are closest to me will somehow alienate me, or I'll feel too different from them? Does that ever come into play?
It sometimes happens with some people that when they become successful, other people seem to judge themselves for not doing the same that you're doing.
But maybe it doesn't come across that way.
You just got to get over that.
Yeah.
Enough is enough.
Exactly.
But I don't think it comes across that way, because nobody's ever going to say, I don't want to be as close to you any longer as a friend because I'm jealous of you. Maybe the person just pulls back unexpectedly. So perhaps someone might be afraid of that and use that as their subconscious reason to not succeed. Is that possible?
It is possible, and it's happened. But the truth is that when you set any goal in life, you need to think about, is it going to have a positive influence on every aspect of my life? And if it doesn't, is it worth getting? So if you start thinking about what it is that you want before you get it, you can start sorting out people's reactions, people's responses to you, so that you know how to handle it. And look, you have no control over anybody else's behavior other than your own.
So a goal is like a destination. If you don't have a goal, you have no map to follow to get there.
Well, let's put it this way. If you were to put in a GPS a location that you want to go somewhere, chances are it's not really going to take you anywhere. So the brain works the same way. Once you tell it what it is that you want, it searches and sorts for actually getting it.
Right, so instead of couch potatoes, sitting in their chair watching TV and getting that dopamine rush, feeling good because the brain can't tell what's real or what's fake, we're telling people to get up and actually live the life, take the action, get into business, be involved with family in a positive way.
That's right. And it's all about how you think, which Dr. Richard Bandler says it's how you think that changes how you feel, which then changes how you do things.
So what is another strategy to help make sure someone sticks with it? Because of course, fear comes and goes. I mean, just when you think you might overcome it, doesn't it perhaps creep back in at different points as you progress?
Well, it can. And the truth is that the more aware you become of that sort of thought, because it can happen with anyone, that, oh, am I really doing the right thing? But the truth is that you can judge at the moment if you are or if you're not. And if you keep going and thinking of the goal in mind, it'll propel you into actually getting it done.
So some people have phobias that are PTSD, that are really, they get anxiety ridden. They're on medication like Xanax or Klonopin or something like that. What do you suggest these people start changing? How do you fix that?
So anyone who's on any sort of medication needs to, of course, go to a doctor to see what the best thing to do is, stop it or start it or anything in between. But one of the things that can change brain chemistry is simply changing how you think. For instance, if I say, think of a wonderful time in your life, you feel a certain way. But if I say, think of a time in your life when things didn't go so well, instantly you feel different. So just by changing how you think, it changes the brain chemistry.
What would you give someone as 2 or 3 pieces of nuggets if they start on this journey and they're determined, but everything has its ups and downs, you have setbacks, you have little successes, but as people go through this process of having a business once they start it and then making that a very successful business, what is there as a standard maybe operating procedure of keeping a positive outlook to be persistent with what they want? Is there anything you could tell us there?
I would suggest that in any avenue that you take to build a business, that you make sure that all aspects of your life remain in balance, so that one thing doesn't affect the other. So that at least, okay, you're busy at work, but just make sure you remain connected with your children, your family, your partner, whoever it may be, so that you continue being a great spouse or
you've got to
parent.
balance life, business, family, personal health.
Exactly, because a successful business person may lose contact with their family and realize 18 years from now, oh my God, I didn't even know, I don't know what happened with my family. I don't know who they are. Is it that you don't like them? I'm sure that's not the cause, right? So you want to maintain some sort of connection deeply with yourself so that it resonates with the rest of your life.
And you help people with this personally.
Yes, I do. And basically I guide people into what it is that they want. I actually have them see on paper how it's going to look like, as
like
well
a
as
vision board or dream board?
I call it a circle.
Yeah. And how is this any different?
And different pieces of the pie represent different pieces of their life. And so I have them put a gauge to it by numbers and how it looked in the past, present, and future.
So you've got a system that you feel really can prepare people and catapult people into success and phobia-free life.
And I have, absolutely, because there's no reason to suffer or no reason to hold yourself back from having the true wealth that you deserve.
And of course, it's not just about wealth, because a lot of people have a negative connotation when, they may have heard phrases when they were very young as to negative things about people who are wealthy, right? That may also attribute to them holding back because they don't want to end up being that negative connotation that they were raised with. Rich people are greedy or anything of that nature. So is that something else they should look at, is what belief systems that they were exposed to when they were young?
And a belief in that, I think of all the wealthy philanthropists, and had they not established the wealth that they did, think of all the resources that people in who didn't have them would not have gotten them if these people did not have the wealth to share.
As long as those wealthy people are kind. That's the
correct.
key.
Well, that's correct. And this is why I encourage a balance in life, so that you keep perspective on the things that really matter.
Right.
Well, that's why I think it's very encouraging and so much of a motivation personally when I look up what have people who have achieved great deal of success done to help others. And so then I can easily envision that as I grow in my success, how many more people I can help. And that just keeps me motivated. I think that could be said true for anyone, right?
That's right. And the more you make, the more you can give.
Exactly. I mean, if you look at, there's so many philanthropists that we can just model ourselves after who were self-made. So I think that's a very
That's
good way
right.
to keep that motivation going.
That's right. And there's so many of these millionaires and billionaires whose previous businesses didn't do so well, but it never held them back because there is no such thing as failure. There's always something to learn from any experience.
Right. So let's fail a few times and keep moving forward, because that's the direction towards success.
That's right.
Just like Thomas Edison, right? The light bulb, the 10,000 failures until he just made that tweak, and then success for all of us.
That's
so
right.
he failed way more than he succeeded.
Which is something we should all remember. You know, that's how many times have business owners failed tremendously, but you don't hear about that. You only hear about the ones when they do achieve success.
So that's resilience.
Exactly.
And they
Yeah.
figured out how it doesn't work, so that they figured out how it really does work.
So learn from your mistakes or repeat them over and over again.
And so that if they're repeated, you can at least propel yourself in the right direction
Right.
to get the wealth
with
that you want.
awareness.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a better way
Fantastic.
to contribute in helping the population and the society around you.
And
Right.
that's important.
Yeah, and you're teaching them to fish rather than getting fish.
Right, especially, you know, how many small business owners give jobs to others? It's what, I believe 45% of the population is employed by small business owners.
And it's a crux of our economy that needs to be nurtured and fostered and make sure that we get it going even more. And especially these days, it's so easy to open up your own business online.
Oh,
You know, you don't even have to, and it's something that people can start after they come home from work.
start off part-time to help
That's
it
right.
foster
Right,
and
you could
grow.
set up a WordPress site for a few $100s and sell items there.
And there you go. And you know, it's a start to a beginning that, and then it's important to figure out what it is that you need to continue to actually maintain the business. Because too often people say, well, I want to start a business. Okay, but they don't look beyond that.
Well, thank you very much for coming
Yeah,
to
this is
help
great.
everyone
Yeah.
how to not just start a business, but to overcome the fear in getting that first step, second step, and the ongoing fears that you'll face throughout the whole process.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kalliope.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
It's been wonderful.